Давайте подберем громкость. А то всю эту психиатрию слушать слишком громко, думаю, будет не очень-то приятно. Опаньки, фильм. Что за фильм?
Stormy seas and lost souls.
Who is it?
She's dreamt of this before.
It's coming. Is it?
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts, and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake? And we only see what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares. Maybe that's why people fear seeing the world through her eyes.
Yes, she's scared.
Because if you believe that Senua's reality is twisted, you must accept that yours might be too.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory. But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching.
The original idea for Hellblade was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In Hellblade, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senuna in Ashwell, Hertfordshire. When first discovered, her name was thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts. And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay. The Picts were known for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted hair clumped with lime.
Здорово,
So Senua
здорово.
would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
What's your name?
Senua,
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands. The population of the Picts crashed thereafter, replaced by the Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings. The Northmen's brutality is legendary. High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods. The most brutal of these sacrifices was known as the Blood Eagle. I imagine Senua as a young female warrior who returns home from exile to find her partner, Dillion, brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land. I imagine the horror of this moment and how it would have dragged her deep into mental torment. I came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and nuanced perspective on the nature of mental disorder. One term they used was Gelt. A Gelt is a man or woman who has been driven mad by a curse, battle trauma, or grief. The Gelt would take to a life in the woods in search of penance, punishment, and purgation. And so Senua became a Gelt, cursed by darkness, looking for redemption in the wilds. Another word the Celts used in reference to mental disorders was truth, meaning fool, or liar, one who utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Truth in Hellblade is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water.
Да, без озвучки. С переводом в эту игру играть не так уж и интересно. Но вот там какие-то энтузиасты вроде собрались сделать озвучку. Собирают денежку.
So the stage was set for a new adventure, a journey into the Norse underworld called Hell, a vision quest fueled by madness and myth, a fantasy that was created by Senua's own mind, and one that we would experience through her eyes.
This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness, such as psychosis, is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema, never mind the new medium of games. Where it does feature, it often conflates psychosis and psychopathy associated with a lack of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So we reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
You're already dead. Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favor of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim. And the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly schizophrenia and psychosis. So we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher and with those who have experience of psychosis to create a game that provides a fresh perspective on the condition and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming here. Pleasure. Thanks. It's really interesting for me, and I'd love to be involved. I think it's fascinating. Yeah, absolutely.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery, and ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see it? Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and actively involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules. If we were to represent Senua's psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of? Professor Charles Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life for many people who don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from inside your head.
Based on the information Professor Fernyhough provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded the actors using a binaural microphone, which records the 3D spatial position of sound, replicating the way sound is heard by human ears. It gives you an incredible sense that the person you are listening to is right there beside you.
Can't see how she's going.
Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with 2 young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional experience. It's testament to how Ninja Theory have been listening to what the researchers are saying, but also crucially listening to the experts by experience. What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with Recovery College East, who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the visions or what we're seeing is too much, it becomes more difficult until eventually we perhaps don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. As we all know, my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Feel like this, read like this, I just wanna live, that's all. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
To refine our work, we continue to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them. The panic and fear that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be a living horror for some.
Worthless, weak, pathetic. Go on, feel sorry for yourself, because there is no one left to do that for you.
I was urged by one fellow that we should not shy away from showing this horror, and so I was perpetually torn in making Hellblade. Had we gone too far with our representations, or not far enough?
Broken and lost. Just like your soul.
Come on.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or, not worth commenting on. Nevertheless, that might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
It's not just brain dysfunction. It's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of Senua's mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Helheim, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete Senua's quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing, that they are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
I need this sword. It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens, our video editor, had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already auditioned for the role, and I knew her well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us. My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can provide a lens into her reality, a different one to yours, and this is where storytelling comes into play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect. Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and a superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exasperated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness. It's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dillian sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything: the darkness. So the question, is what Senua experiences real? Can only be answered by saying, yes, it is real. It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service users and professionals that had collaborated with us were invited to see the near-final game. It was a chance to see if the game had reflected their views or if it had misrepresented them.
For me, being involved in especially developing Senua's character has been really important, and being able to bring in my perspective and what I see and what I hear, and having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty, and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels like we've been listened to, things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
Hellblade will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory kind of asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive when it comes out, and get myself a copy and have a go.
I think all the way through I was really inspired by how the conversations have translated into the game in a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible. So wonderful, really wonderful.
I really hope that others will follow the lead they've set and use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this strange uncertainty and noise and conflicting information that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure scientific explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why hasn't evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw. It assumes that being and thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because individuals are able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us. We need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to these new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create Senua's story and share it with you.
Ну что ж, знатно народ потрудился, смотрю. Ну, отчасти это выглядит глумлением над этими людьми. Ну да ладно, оставим это. Сейчас отойду на минутку и продолжим. Ну что ж, начнем. Ну что же, здравствуйте, дорогие телезрители. В общем, начнем наше психиатрическое путешествие.
Hello. Who are you? Doesn't matter. Welcome. You're safe with me. I'll be right here, nice and close so I can speak without alerting the others. Let me tell you about Senua. Now, her story has already come to an end, but now it begins anew.
What's happening? It's breathing. The head. It's breathing. It's breathing. He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting.
Опачки, привет.
Здорово, здорово.
This is a journey deep into darkness. There will be no more stories after this one.
What is she doing? Why is she doing this? They're watching. Why doesn't she feel her coming? She's doing this for him. She wants to rescue him. He's already.
Жаль, что они озвучку русскую не сделали. Многое теряется. Те игрушка новая же ж. Обычно на новых делают.
Новая деваха.
Ну да. Блин, а чё это не показывается-то?
I think the darkness changed them, just like it changed her.
you see them? Over there. Why isn't she looking? Why aren't you looking? He's in hell high.
Look. Up ahead. You see it too?
This.
Yes. It is real after all. She's finally arrived in the land of mist and fog. The place the Northmen call hell.
Turn back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe. Turn back. Go back. Go back. It's not safe.
It's them. They're here.
Can you see that? I can see you.
Look around and you'll see them. The drowned, the sick, the slain. Here they lie, rotting in the fields and rivers of hell. But the dead don't always lie still here. This is not a place of rest.
Can't do this. Go back. Go back. They're going to do that to you. Can you see them? Can you see them? They're going to do that to you. They're watching. Stop. Can you feel them watching? They're watching her. They're watching her. You're so close to the darkness. Go back. Can you feel it?
What is she thinking? I can tell you. She's afraid. Wouldn't you be? You'd think she would get used to it by now after so many years. But the darkness, it just builds onto itself, growing stronger, towering over her. You might try and ignore it, turn away. But it's always there, just out of sight, where you're most vulnerable. It's like it knows that just enough light is all you need to see its suffocating power.
They can feel
You might think she's brave to go on this journey on her own, but it isn't bravery that drives her. Bravery only means something to those afraid of death. Senua's fear runs far, far deeper.
Куда-то мы приплыли.
What is she looking at? What is she leaving behind? I know what she's thinking. I hear her thoughts. It's not too late to get into the boat and go back. No one will judge her. No one will ever know. Oh, she heard us.
There's no going back.
You can't do it.
Senua pushes away a world that conspired to cause so much suffering. There's nothing to go back to, and worse to look forward to. Why don't you join us? Maybe you too have a part to play in this story.
О, наконец-то мне руля дали. В ее башке и так куча голосов всяких ей управляют. Вот мне теперь дали поуправлять. А, что за фигня?
Closer look to see. Why isn't she focusing? She needs to focus now.
She needs to use her eyes.
Голоса говорят, надо использовать глаза. Так, только бы понять, как их использовать. Будем познавать управление. Ну.
Do not forget my stories, Senua. Because your darkness comes from hell, and your fate.
Все-таки не хотят у меня новые дрова софта работать на видихе.
Burning of a corpse will take you straight to Hela's gate. But gods and the living will follow this path. You must leave the Isles of Orkney across the eastern sea and find a road that leads north and down through deep, dark valleys. After 9 nights of riding, you will follow a great river and will find a bridge covered in gold. The path to Helheim goes from there, across the River of Knives that flows from the dark world of Niflheim.
А в каком смысле не хотят? Чё она глючит, вылетает, винда виснет, чё? Ну, что тут у нас есть? Управление, значит. Чувствительность мыши не перевели. Тут движение, сосредоточение, взаимодействие F, бег, Shift. Ну, как обычно, вот рукопашка F. А, ну это то же самое, что и взаимодействие. Уклониться. Пробел. Блок. Левый Ctrl. Угу. Сменить цель. Z и C. Ну что, основные кнопки E, F. Как обычно. Что там рычит-то? Чё шепчешь, блин? На ухо. Опаньки. Кто-то идет. Факел не возьмешь? Ну, ладно. О, у вас небо глючит, люди. А тут кто-то чистокол поставил. Место-то обжитое. Сейчас кто-то явно будет недоволен непрошенными гостями. Ух, ё-моё.
При входе в любой полноэкранный режим виснет картинка, а звук есть. Я бегаю, прыгаю, все норм, а картинка стоит на месте. Alt-Tab нажмешь, обновится картинка и опять стоит.
Странно, странно.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim. And the goddess Hela holds his soul there. Her dear beloved, Dillian.
Так, приходы окончились, пошли дальше. Ну не знаю, с такими глюками я не сталкивался никогда. Может, у тебя там конфликт с той прогой, которая ставит дрова, и теми дровами, что ты пытаешься поставить поверх? Фиг его знает.
His soul still lives. She needs to save his soul. She wants his soul to be at peace.
Так, про эту игру говорят, что очень много ходить придется.
I forget its name. She forgets too. But she does remember that only the dead may cross it.
Ох, ё-моё. Там чувачки висят, им уже хорошо.
The old fool said there was a hidden path up to it. Let's see, shall we?
Только нам надо забраться на мост, а там закрыто все, смотрю. Хотя фиг его знает, что нам надо. Голоса подскажут. А, ну путь один. Только туда, куда можно. О, опять какая-то плита с подсказкой.
The Northmen speak of 9 worlds. The world of men they call Midgard. Sky gods dwell in Asgard. The gods of earth, harvest, wind, and sea dwell in Vanaheim. The good elves dwell in Alfheim. The evil ones dwell in Svartalfheim. The mountain giants dwell in Jotunheim. The fire giants dwell in Muspelheim. Niflheim is the world of ice and darkness.
Полностью старый софт удалял павы и ставил не помогает, вот, и сижу на старом софте 19,9.
Ну, он вроде не такой уж и старый. Может, когда-нибудь решишь проблему. О, F нажать надо. Не покажут подробностя, блин, ну как так можно? Ларка-то хоть сверкала чем-то, а тут, походу, только морда ее показывает нам. Ну ладно, чувиха немножко не в себе. Чё нам пялятся, правда? Идем дальше. Движок Unreal Engine 4. Графа, смотрю, прекрасная. Ну. Когда-то я так буду делать. Хе-хе-хе. В общем, сегодня идея такая пришла. Для ускорения разработки игр. Ну, конечно, слабо верится, что приживется, но... Так. И чё? Чё ты не спускаешься вниз? F нажать. Так. То есть назад мы не залезем уже. Ну, в общем, можно создать ресурс, на котором можно было бы вывешивать, допустим, какую-то тему. Например, кто-то хочет создать игру и умеет лишь истории писать. Ну, он создает, значит, тему с соответствующим названием, указывает жанр, там не жанр, что там может указать. Ну и тот, кто может организовать процесс, может подключиться к этому, если ему история понравится. Если захочет, может добавить пункты, там разделить, допустим, что надо создать дизайн таких-то героев. Создаст подпункты с заданиями, допустим. Написать столько-то разной музыки. И вот эти пункты, которые он создаст, будут высвечиваться как задание новым людям, которые захотят в этом поучаствовать. Таким образом, когда этот сайт будет наполнен или система, то чувак, допустим, который умеет писать музыку хорошо, заходит и сразу находит себе работу. Ну или просто художник, который рисует концепты героев всяких, тоже заходит и видит задание нарисовать столько-то героев, рисует их, загружает. И в итоге система будет считать, сколько процентов кто вложил в работу по созданию той или иной игры, чтобы можно было потом посчитать распределение прибыли там и так далее. Ну, а то сейчас смотрю, проблема у разрабов. И если команда есть, то что-то создают, а если команды нет, но хоть есть идея, то не могут
Ну да
ничего создать.
неплохо.
Ну, опять приходы пошли.
Don't kill me. I'm not one of them. I was just hiding. I find I live longer that way. I'll never let the bastards catch me again. Never! Wait.
О, чувырло какой-то появился.
Truth? Is that you?
For my tales of the Northmen, they call me Druth. Liar. An old fool. Truth is my truth.
It's good to see you again. You kept your vow.
Guide you in this life and the next. I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Tell me your stories again, old friend. I'm listening.
The runes seal the gates to hell. Focus your inner eye, and you too will see what's hidden in plain sight.
Use your eyes. Use your eyes.
I can see one.
Hold it in your mind's eye. Find one like it to open the gate.
Take a closer look. Hidden secret.
Найди такую же. Где ее найти? Вот. Чё? Такую же найти. Иди найти такую.
Всем привет. Лайк оформил.
Здорово, здорово. Да не обязательно лайкать. Ну, спасибо, спасибо. Тут у нас психопатия происходит коллективная. Вон он, символ-то был. Есть.
Руны перед экраном или чё?
Да вот, фиг его знает, блин. Тоже давай. Это не то. Ну вон он, блин. В углу мельтешит.
ТВ-стрим, привет, как сам?
Да ёперный кардебалет, блин. Вон, все сверкает этими символами. Чё не открывается ворота, блин? Задолбали.
It's near. Look towards the gate, and the gate will open.
Да.
The gate is open. Go through the gate. Go through it. It's dangerous. Follow it. What's behind the gate? It worked.
I spent 6 years enslaved in hell, but I watched the Northmen, learnt their ways.
I know you did.
You listened when everyone else laughed. My people paid a heavy price. Carry my stories with you and together we will make the Northmen feel our fury.
Another voice joins us. She once tried to make them go away. Pretend they weren't real. But what good is that? When we are always here.
А вода как-то не очень выглядит.
I guess it's the same with heights. You can stand on the edge, pretend it's going to be okay. But you know that death is near, waiting for you to make that little slip. You can't just wish things away.
The world of the dead is ruled by the giantess, Hela, daughter of Loki. The gods feared her bloodline, bad on her mother's side and yet much worse on her father's. So, as a child, the All-Father cast her down into Helheim and gave her power over those who die of sickness, age, hardship, and self-slaughter. In all of the 9 worlds, only Hela can resurrect the dead. To Hela, your Dillion was sacrificed, and with her you must bargain.
Не ступеньки. Или подожди, давай сначала сюда глянем. А, тут пути нет. Понятно. Эти штуки это как отрезают путь назад, короче. Можно выгружать эту сцену. Опаньки, сейчас будет какая-то драчка, походу.
The gate to Helheim divides the living from the dead. Is that the face of Hela herself? The half-rotten goddess that rules over Helheim. Whatever horrors lie behind that door, she must find him. Shh. Someone's here. resist it. Just give him back.
Ну, какой-то мужика найдет. Ветвистый олень. Ой, ё-моё, это больно было. Еще один. Ой, покромсали.
A vision of what's to come. Poor Senua. The darkness does not bargain. It does not reason. It is rot. And now it has taken hold. It will spread towards her head, the seat of the soul, until there is nothing left of her. All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time. The hardest battles are fought in the mind. That is what Dillian taught her. With every defeat, the dark rot will grow and soon it will take her soul. But for now, at least, she still has control of her mind. And she will fulfill her vow. Whatever the cost.
He's not right.
Listen to me, Senua. The goddess Hela lies behind the gate to Helheim. To open the gate, you must first face the gods that guard it. The god of fire, Surt, and the god of illusion, Valravan. Spill their blood to open the gate to Helheim and enter the land of the dead.
Мочить кого-то придется.
it won't open.
Ну, блин, чё так долго?
Why can't she open? She needs to challenge the gods. She has to fight two gods first. Two gods? Two gates. Which will she choose first? One of them will kill her, I know it. She's going to die. Uh-oh. Which one will she challenge first? Be very careful, Senua. Choose a gate.
Sort, the fire giant has answered. He comes from a land older than mankind. And the Northmen call upon his flaming sword to raise their enemies to the ground. Find him, Senua, and spill his blood.
She found the wretched old fool on her way back from the wilds. An outcast. He was badly burnt all over. She took pity on him, for he was not long for this
Чуть-чуть не по прямому пути пойдем.
who spoke of his own darkness.
А, смотри-ка, тут как бы два пути идет.
The Northmen tell this story. Before the earth was created, there was a world called Muspel. Because it was in the south, it was bright and hot, flaming, burning. Sparks that flew out from Muspel became the stars. Other sparks melted ice in the frozen world of Niflheim, creating the body of the first giant, Ymir. Muspel is one of the 9 worlds, and is now the land of the fire giants. And people from elsewhere cannot endure a journey there.
М-м.
Senua, we each walk these lands gazing towards different horizons, some of us further than others. Your father cannot see what you see, but there is nothing wrong with seeing the world the way you do.
Короче, если кто не понял, нам надо завалить 2 чуваков. Типа великанов. Один огненный, другой еще какой-то. Мы подошли в мир огненного. В общем, ищем чего-то тут ищем. Попутно всякую бредятину нам рассказывают. О, сгоревшие люди отдыхают. А, спрыгнуть отсюда нельзя, только пешком ходить. Надо... Ой, ё-моё.
It's nearly over. Finish it. End it.
Голоса подсказывают, где они.
Don't let them surround you.
Блин, линии жизни нифига нет. Но сказали, что-то там у нее, когда дойдет до башки, то ей хана. Это, видимо, то, что на руке. Два символа найти надо.
The sweet, sickly stench of burning human flesh. And I still hear their cries carried in the wind. Do you hear them too, Senua?
Yes, I heard their screams, and I still hear them now.
Are they screaming? Follow the screams. You can hear the noise. The rooms. The screams will help you. Screams are screaming. Sacrifice. The screams towards the rooms. The rooms reward. The rooms.
Так, теперь другую карказямбру.
Follow the screams. Are they screaming? It's just that. You'll never. Follow the screams.
The path to Helheim is sealed to the living.
Ё-моё, ну и дичь.
Look towards the gate, and you will see that it has opened.
Отпирай!
When they first came to my lands, I knew enough of their tongue to beg for mercy, and they took me as a slave. I wish now that they had slaughtered me like the others. I rode their storm of fire, death, slavery to many lands. This darkness you speak of, I know it well.
And I'm still here to fight it.
Да, боевка так себе, конечно. Так, а там что открылось?
When you see a fire gate of Surt, know that only a sacrifice will stoke the fires of Muspel and let the dead walk through.
Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
Найти огонь. Да вот вам огонь, чё вы, блин. Ну вот огонь, ё-моё. Или надо где-то найти палку, сделать себе этот факел, что ли? Чё устроила пожар тут? Усё спалила. Дурында. О, мужик какой-то стоит.
Hell will not give you the answers you want. But you mustn't look away from the horrors it does offer. Because you cannot overcome suffering if you refuse to look at it.
What's happening? Where's the fire gone? Where's it gone? The fire's disappeared. It was everywhere. Maybe it was an illusion. It was a trick. The buyer. Surt is through there.
He's waiting for her.
You can't get through.
How will she get through?
She'll need to find another way.
Truth said, find your own path.
There's always another way.
There's always a way.
Find your own way.
You just have to find it. Is waiting for you.
It was
Да достали подсказывать, блин. Вижу я, что тут нет пути.
Find him.
The pyre.
Найди другой путь, найди его, найти другой путь. Что, заткнулись? Нашел, значит? Хе-хе. О. Опять какая-то обелиска.
The Northmen say that the defender of Muspel is called Surt, the foremost of the fire giants. His name means the Black One, because he is like something burnt. The Northmen believe that he sits at the border of Muspel with his flaming sword, and at the end of the world he will leave his post. He will travel to Asgard and Midgard, waging war against all the gods. He will be victorious, and then burn the whole world with fire.
Сохранки что-то не вижу.
Another gate. She needs to find it.
Another fire sacrifice.
Another fire sacrifice.
Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to
Здорово.
Здорово, здорово. Так, огонь надо найти. Ой, ё-моё. Опять приходы пошли.
She'll never find it. She'll never make her way back.
She needs to remember the way back.
What happens when she finds it?
Everything will burn.
Concentrate on where you're going. She needs to remember the path.
Everything will burn, then how will she find the way back?
She won't. She won't be able to tell.
Чё они мне там подсказывают назад вернуться? Я не хочу назад. Вон я вижу огонь. Так, как эту хрень обойти нормально? Отсюда что ли? О, еще один обелиск.
The Northmen believe that the world will be destroyed someday. They call it Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. Asgard will be attacked by Surt and the fire giants. A monstrous wolf will swallow the sun, and the gods will fight in vain against their enemies. There is nothing they can do to prevent it, but Odin ever seeks knowledge and magic, hoping to find a way to postpone that dark day.
Сюда пути нет. Только сюда, что ли? А вот и огонь. Только с таких она брать не хочет огонь. Идем туда.
Fire sacrifices, burning slaves like me to reveal the path to Surt. I searched for meaning in their suffering, in their eyes, but they just screamed like helpless pigs.
А, вон она. Опять все запалили. А еще мужик стоит, упал. Еще один упал. Ё-моё, ну приходы.
Answer your prayers, Senua. I asked the gods for mercy, all of them, even theirs. None answered. In the end, I set myself free. Defy the gods, Senua! Find your own path, like I find mine!
My gods abandoned me! I am alone.
Зато она может идти в одном направлении, даже если крутится. Круто. Так, теперь вот эти ворота, что ли? Ну, как бы один нашли. Что еще надо? Чья-то хата. Эй, есть кто дома? Что, совсем никого? Декорации, пустые декорации. О, какие инструменты хорошие. Но ковальня есть. Даже не одна. Так, ворота. символами.
The Northmen of Hell worship the Devourers, insatiable gods of darkness. I come from Erin, Senua, where I once followed my own gods, the Tuatha De Danann.
Why did you abandon your gods?
Senua, I was a man of knowledge, not a warrior. To survive, I did things. Bad things.
Like you, Senua. The man I once was has died. And when that happens, even gods you worship can die with you.
Так, где нам найти ры? Ры-ры-ры. А можно бегать, о, подсказки. Это туда или оттуда? Все-таки туда. А тут еще какой-то облидиск.
The Northmen say that at Ragnarok, the sons of Muspel will travel to battle in the ship called Naglfar, the corpse ship. And when the sons of Muspel leave the ship and ride to battle, it will be as though the sky had split open, and Surt will lead them. Wherever he goes, flame will erupt before him, and fires will burn behind him.
Ладно, удачки, пошел я отдыхать.
Давай. Что, наверх-то она не залезет никак. Так, ну на земле явно, как сверху на это посмотреть-то. Ну да, не зря ж там эти ступеньки не сделали, блин. Ладно. Да ладно, расслабься, тебе что кажется. А, она еще и сгореть может. Прикольно, прикольно. Делаю чуть потише. То есть бежать ей надо по ступенькам, что ли, вообще?
Привет всем.
Здорово, здорово. У нас тут это психические расстройства. Горячо там, наверное.
Let it collapse, and have the courage to shed your tears. Raise your world to the prime.
My world is dead.
Only then reborn, will you see the world anew?
No, I see nothing now.
Жареные, поджаристые мужички. И не только мужички. Туда можно пойти. А мы сначала глянем, что тут есть. А, еще одни ворота.
Find the fire, Senua, to follow the path to Surt.
Tell me truth. How did you escape your darkness?
Senua, once I found my purpose, I was no longer enslaved to the suffering I had to endure to reach it. Unclouded by fear, I could see it clearly in others. Even my captors feared the fire of Surt. And so, during one raid, I took my chance and ran, knowing that they would not follow. The fool ran into the fire. They left me for dead. Maybe they were right. But here I am. Free.
I'm glad I found you in the wilds. I wouldn't have made it without you.
The Northmen say that what we see as a rainbow is the bridge that goes from the world of men to the world of the gods. For now, they say the frost giants and the mountain giants cannot cross it. But they say that when Ragnarok comes, not a thing in this world will be safe. The Rainbow Bridge will break under the onslaught of the fire giants riding on flaming steeds. Senua, I have seen the fire of Surt spread far and wide, and to our lands. Ragnarok is coming.
Ух ты, на вышку можно. Да, только с вышки как-то. Да ёшкин кот, блин. Вроде я тут то же самое делал с чем-то. Ну ладно, хрен с ним.
If I can survive the fire of certain and escape my darkness, then so can you. Run through the fire. Keep running. Go on. Nothing will stop you. Run, Senua. Run.
She's dying.
Чё, все сплохело совсем?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. This darkness takes everything. Everyone.
Senua, are you sure you want to do this? We can fight this together, side by side. We always do.
This is my battle. I have to face it alone, away from you.
Where will you go?
I don't know.
For how long?
I don't know.
I believe in you. You know that. Just promise me that you will come back to me. I want you to say it. I want you to say it.
I will come back to you. I promise.
Come on.
Spill the blood of certain. Take his bark
Это типа босс. Хворостоголовый. Воткнули, так воткнули, ё-моё. Чё, отпустят сейчас? А, мы только одного замочили, второго надо.
So it goes until we fall. And in the end, we all fall. Even the gods have their time. Yet we still go on. Why?
I made a promise, and I will go to hell to keep it.
I die free, knowing you will carry my stories with you. I have fulfilled my quest.
Yes, you have.
When the darkness comes, I vow to guide you in this life and the next to fulfill yours.
Then I will see you in hell.
Be ready to face horror in the eye, as I have, to find your answers, your quest, your truth.
Чё, отпустила? Ну да, теперь нам надо идти назад. А карты тут нету. Нету, нифига.
Took him with them on their raids. Drove him to madness.
Это откроется. Нет?
Senua saw a deep connection form between the Northmen and the darkness. If his tales of hell were true, then that was the source of it. She learned everything she could from him, until she too could see what he saw. Have you ever died before? It's a serious question. When the illusion of self is shattered, you simply cease to be. Though it may not seem that way to others, you know when it is true. You can feel it. A stranger in your own body. An imposter. And nothing is the same ever again. Senua has died before. And she will do so again. You can be sure of that.
She's only passed one test. What's the other test?
Valravan, ancestor of the seers and master of ravens. He hunts his prey with his powers of illusion and feasts on their remains.
Здоров. На геймпаде играешь?
Не-не-не. У меня вообще нет геймпадов. Здорово, здорово. Так, значит, сейчас этот... Иллюзии. Значит, будет еще шизофрения покруче.
И как тебе игрушка?
Да, что-то пока не очень. Наверное, было бы интереснее, если бы звук переведен был.
Ты там чем ее пичкаешь?
Да она сама такая. История про чувиху, которая имеет проблемы с головой. У нее голоса всякие в башке. Галюны ловит постоянно.
Illusion hides the path to Balravn. Don't trust your eyes. Find another way to see the truth.
Так, что найти теперь надо? Опять глюки.
Походу, мамка с папкой плотно сидели на допинге.
Да, походу. А мост опуститься не хочет. А, вот так. Да, получилось у нее, надо же. Ну, это еще за бред. Почему она не видит? Видит что? А, ворота открылись.
А что контур экрана все время мерцает?
Хрен его знает. Вообще у него постоянные галюны, так что мерцает тут все и всегда, и почти всегда, постоянно, короче. Он опять приход какой-то пошел.
Перед тем, как ты мост опустил, контур мерцал.
И даже открылись. Мужики отдыхают. Еще ворота.
Вид только от третьего лица.
Угу. Только от третьего. Ой, ё-моё, желающие. Блин, да сколько у вас же?
Finish this. End it now.
The Northmen will not stop her. She will find what she's looking for.
Valravan's power of illusion comes from ravens. Align the ravens to break his magic seal.
Show me what you have seen, Truth.
Look how much it's changed. It's all different.
Наверх надо залезть как-то. Обо что залезть наверх?
To break the seal, align the ravens with the mark of Valravan.
Ну как-то надо наверх. Блин, вот как? Чё они перестали светиться-то? Ага, как-то с той стороны залезть сюда.
В воротах встань и посмотри на символ.
В воротах.
На расстоянии и потихоньку подходи, чтобы совместился.
Ща гляну тут. Обхода нет никакого. Да ёшкин кот, блин.
Может, поможет.
Вот этим эта игра и бесит. Вы думали, какая-то хрень. Символы ищи, бегай. Ну, там какой-то мужик стоит наверху. Как ты туда залез? Мне тоже надо, подскажи.
Как Dead Space.
Как-то именно наверх надо добраться. Вот такие дела. А что, он светиться перестал? Ладно, идем ищем обход. Вот оттуда нам надо туда залезть как-то. Тут она не хочет залазить. Блин, даже прыгать не умеет нифига. Тут залезть неоткуда. А туда тоже пути нет. О, блин, нету куда идти. О, закрылась. Хе-хе-хе-хе. Открылась.
Ладно, удачного стима.
Давай, давай. Наверное, на сегодня закончу. А то, блин, что-то даже неинтересно толком. Ой, ожидал большего, блин. Надо будет ждать озвучки. Если она когда-нибудь будет. Хотя, что толку от бубнения этих там мало. Опаньки. Этого раньше не было, что ли? Потом на записи гляну.
Something's shifted, something's happened.
Что-то двинулось. О, кто-то двинулся. Вы чувствуете?
Do you feel it too? It's like crossing into another world that looks the same but feels.
Ладно, хватит на сегодня. В общем, всем пока-пока. А мы пока выйдем. Выйти главное меню. Пока, в общем.